Hey y'all, have you ever found yourself in your kitchen on a random Tuesday and you're about to start dinner and it's Taco Tuesday, so you're making tacos. You open your pantry to get out one of those little seasoning packets and you don't have any. So now you have to go to the grocery store before you can cook your dinner if you still plan on having tacos. Has that ever happened to you? Yeah, I've caught myself without taco seasoning before. But I have a solution for you. You won't ever have to go to the grocery store on a random Taco Tuesday again for some seasoning that you forgot. Come on, let me show you what you're going to do instead. These are the seasonings that I'm going to be using to make my homemade taco seasoning. We're going to be using some cayenne pepper, some garlic powder, some black pepper, some oregano. It calls for paprika, but I'm going to be using smoked paprika. You can use either or. I'm using ground cumin, chili powder, and onion powder. Some of these look a little low, so I have a few spices over here to the side on standby just in case I run out of what I have right here. So let's get started. Okay, we're going to start off by getting a bowl. And I'm actually going to double this recipe because I like to have enough on hand for a while. And I use this for tacos, for taco salad. I use it in anytime I need a taco seasoning, this is my go-to. And that way I always have it on hand. You know, you might go look in your pantry and you're like, oh wow, yeah, I needed some taco seasoning, but I don't have one of those little packets, so I'm going to have to run to the store. No, you're not. You're not going to have to run to the store. So you can go in the kitchen and you can whip up a batch of homemade taco seasoning, which is actually better for you in the long run. So let's get started with our chili powder. The recipe calls for 2 tablespoons. We're going to put 4. Just chili powder. I know I'm not going to have enough. Just like I thought. But I have a standby. I just opened it. So that was 2, 3, 4. So we've got 4 tablespoons of chili powder. If you just want one recipe, you're going to put 2 tablespoons of chili powder. Okay, now we're going to our ground cumin. And we're going to do the same thing. The recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of ground cumin. We're going to put 4 teaspoons of ground cumin. Next, it calls for garlic salt. I do not keep garlic salt ever. If I use any garlic, it is garlic powder or minced garlic or fresh garlic. So in this case, we're going to be using garlic powder instead of garlic salt. It calls for 2 teaspoons. We're going to use 4 teaspoons. Okay. Next up, we have black pepper. It calls for 1 teaspoon. We're going to use 2 teaspoons. Just any black pepper that you have in your pantry. And then we have onion powder. It calls for 1 teaspoon of onion powder. We're going to use 2. I'm just using this. I think we have enough for this recipe, so I don't think we'll have to open another one. There's 1. And there's 2. Next, you're going to add paprika. It calls for regular paprika. I'm using smoked paprika. I use this all the time in it. It tastes fine. So it calls for 1 teaspoon of paprika. So we're going to do 2. Okay, and next up we have dried oregano. I'm going to use this. I had another one out, but it's actually ground oregano. I think I'm going to use this instead. It's oregano leaves. And it calls for half a teaspoon. So we're going to use a whole teaspoon. Last but not least, it calls for cayenne pepper. For just the single recipe, it calls for 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. So since I'm doubling, in theory, I should use a half a teaspoon of cayenne, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to double the cayenne because I don't like too spicy of a taco seasoning. So I'm just going to use 1/4 teaspoon, a heaping one, but 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne. That's all that goes in it. You got all those different seasonings in this bowl, and you're just going to take it, you're just going to stir it around, mix it all up really good. It's very simple. And most of you probably have at least most of these spices in your cabinet. I know I had every single one of them. I usually keep them. And I usually make sure I have extras in case I need to whip up some taco seasoning to keep in the pantry. I'm going to add this to what I already have made. But you can keep it in a jar just with a lid. Keep it in your pantry just like you would anything else. Just make sure you label it so you'll know what it is. But whenever you need to use it, if you're going to make tacos or taco salad or anything like that, then you're going to use, for every pound of ground beef, you want to use 2 to 3 tablespoons of this seasoning mix. More or less depending on your taste, but that's what most recipes call for, is 2 to 3 tablespoons of taco seasoning mix. So you would use the same amount of this as you would in a taco seasoning packet that is bought from the store. So there you go. Easy peasy. Very simple to make your own homemade taco seasoning mix, and it is a lot better for you than the packet you get at the store. Don't get me wrong. I use the ones from the store. You know, if I need one, I'm in a pinch and I don't have any taco seasoning made, yes, I'm going to use one if I have it. I think we all do, and that's okay. It's okay to use store-bought, but I do prefer the homemade taco seasoning. I'm also going to add here that this taco seasoning will last for 1 to 2 years when it's stored in a small glass container with a lid, and it's put in a cool, dark place like a pantry. So you can make this up and not worry about it. You can make up a bigger batch than that. I will leave the original recipe, not the doubled recipe, but the original recipe. I will leave it in the description box below. So if you're interested in making your own and trying it out, it'll be there for you. I love homemade taco seasoning. It just tastes so much better than the store-bought to me. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a like, share this video, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.